Start right away. Take action as soon as possible. And I'm not talking about the training on the field or in the gym. I'm talking about everything off of the field. I started doing individual training when I was around 13 to 14 years old, and I thought I was doing every single thing right. I was doing the cone drills, individual training, the individual workouts. I was doing all of that, and I thought I was just guaranteed gonna go pro just because I was doing all that training. But everything on the field and in the gym is just as important than everything off of the field. The connections you make, the proactiveness of sending emails and connecting with coaches and other players around the world, that is just as important as everything on the field. And if you start today, especially at that age 14, you can go so far with your football career. And yes, I was doing this stuff at 13, 14 years old, 15 years old. I was being proactive and I was emailing coaches, but I wasn't attacking it at full force. I was only doing it because it felt like an obligation. I was just doing it every now and then. But if you're doing it every single day, then the trajectory that you have for your football career is substantial. And I feel like I always made these excuses for myself that I wasn't joining these teams because, you know, the setup wasn't right for me, or the right people, the right scouts, the right coaches, they weren't seeing me. I just made all these excuses when in reality, I wasn't holding myself accountable. I was almost deluded to the point where my lack of proactiveness, I had to make an excuse to cover it up. And that is something that I regret to this day. Obviously, I'm proud of where I am today, but if I could go back and change something for my 14-year-old self, it would be to be as proactive as possible. Emailing coaches and researching teams and schools that you want to go to. Starting early will give you such a big advantage in the football world. Also, at that young age, joining as good of a team as possible is one of the best things that you can do for your football career, because surrounding yourself with those serious players that also aspire to be footballers, or at least taking it seriously, with a coach taking it seriously, with a team that wants to win, joining as good of a team as possible is so beneficial for your career. And I was afraid to step outside of my comfort zone when I was 14 years old. And honestly, it's another thing I wish I could change. If I wanted that higher trajectory for my football career, is to join as good of a team as possible. Because the environment you put yourself in will force you to grow along with those other good players. And even if you're not the best player on the team, having to fight for that starting spot is something that all footballers need, that fighting edge, that need to get on the starting 11 and to prove themselves to the coach and the players. That is something that will get you so far in your football career and just in life in general. And if I were at that age now, I would try my best to compile a CV or a resume of my club history, my stats, my height, my weight, and like stats that you have from a previous season. If you have those are really good things to have at such a young age, because not many people at that age are doing it. So having that advantage so early on is crucial. I'll also be trying to get a highlight video. I know if you're this young, it's probably pretty difficult to do. You probably don't have a whole lot of footage to show, but I would try my best to get maybe a parent or a friend to record your games if they're not already, so that you can have that footage to send out to college coaches and other teams. And it will get you a huge advantage since so many people aren't doing it at that age. And I remember also when I was 14 years old, for this comment specifically, I also had high metabolism and I was skinny, and I think the workouts definitely helped. I think the workouts definitely got me to a higher status and a higher level at my club team. And the individual training I was doing, it got me ahead of a lot of my peers. But the thing was, I think I was too comfortable in that environment. All that training I did to get to where I was at that time, it made me way too comfortable where I was. I was getting compliments from other people saying, "Oh, your training's starting to pay off." I let the compliments get to me because I was too comfortable. So yes, do the individual training, do the individual workouts. But if you're not putting yourself in uncomfortable environments in terms of ID camps and reaching out to coaches as much as possible instead of just out of obligation, you're not going to reach your absolute full potential. And I was going to ID camps, but again, it just almost did it as obligation. I don't think I took it as seriously as I could. I wasn't talking to as many players and coaches as I should have. So just be as proactive as possible. I know it seems scary. I know it can be scary at that young of an age to be proactive and to reach out to all these other different teams. But if you think about it, if you visualize the end result that you can get, the fact that you can get so much out of doing something so simple as reaching out to other coaches and players online and at ID camps and tryouts, that in itself should be enough to motivate you to do it. The next time you're scared of being proactive or reaching out to a coach or a player, think about the end result. Really visualize it and internalize what you can actually accomplish through doing all of this proactiveness, let alone the individual training and the workouts. And hopefully that in itself will help you become more motivated to be a proactive player. I'll see you guys in the next one.